Today on our Raw podcast, we've got Scott Creek joining us, a really authentic man.
Oh.
So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to start off with the question I ask everybody. What does authenticity mean to you?
Since I don't have my phone, I've got to come up with a good answer. Authenticity is, for me, just being genuine and true, and whatever hiccups and character flaws I have, I'll share them with you. And I don't kind of care anymore if they're exposed. So, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. I'm just going to ask a couple quick questions to get you in the zone and feeling comfortable. Coffee or tea?
In the morning, it's coffee.
Coffee. Winter or summer?
Both. Can I say both?
Yeah.
Okay, both.
Dog or cat?
I have to say both, but I grew up as a dog guy, but now we have 2 cats, and they're amazing little animals.
Hockey or golf?
Oh my God. Well, I don't play hockey anymore, but I love watching it, but it's golf more now.
Golf. Awesome. Okay, now we're going right in.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. So we met at church.
Yep.
And it was lovely to meet you. And, I feel that we all have a story, and you shared a little bit of your story with us. And I would love to know from you, if I was to ask you, what is the most raw moment in your life? What would that be?
Probably, I would say, just coming out for a couple of years ago, where I had to kind of say that I'm an alcoholic and call a friend, and he prayed over me, and it was pretty scary, but it was probably the most uplifting experience, because I realized if I didn't kind of face the music, there was a lot to lose. So, yeah, I would say that was probably my rawest moment, I think, yeah.
Can you take us on a journey of what that, like when you actually realized that you were struggling, and when you actually said it out loud that you're an alcoholic, and like, did you ask for help or?
Well, I guess if I go way, way back, probably it was either second or third year university, just finished exams and just partied by myself and got myself into a state, went, oh, maybe I need to go see someone. And so I rode my bike to an AA meeting and sat there for a while and went, okay, this is kind of cool. It's interesting. And someone came up and said, what are you here for? I told them, and they unfortunately brought God up, and I went, gotta go. And so I left. Actually, no, that's a lie. They were kind enough. They gave me a ride home in their car and put my bike in the back, and I got home safely.
That's good. Yeah. And then you continued down your path of drinking?
Yep, just kept doing my normal thing, which is work hard, party hard, all that other stuff, the lifestyle of acquire more and whatever, and see all the great things I've done, and I worked so hard, I deserve this. I get to do this. Everyone else is doing it anyway, so it's okay. I'm not hurting anyone.
Exactly.
So I believe.
Right?
Yeah.
So along that journey of being an alcoholic, did you hurt people along the way?
For sure. Probably just even interactions with them. Fortunately, I never did anything serious where I would say that I hit anyone. Did I drive home intoxicated? Absolutely. And I guess I'm just blessed that I wasn't caught for doing it. But that's the reality. I did do that. But yeah, just being vacant in my own house. Like, wife doesn't want to be around you. Kids kind of start just keeping a distance. Dad downstairs watching a hockey game, having a few drinks, and, start talking. It's like, okay, it just becomes nonsensical. And yet, from my perspective, it's like, what?
What am I doing wrong, right?
Like, I'm not saying anything, but it's you're not in the moment. You're not there for when they need you, type of thing. So, yeah. Did I hurt people? More than likely. Yeah. And other relationships, potentially, because you're so, I guess, short fused, or just like lack of patience. And again, I'm not the type to blow up, but I just walk away from stuff, and then, all right, don't want to really talk to that person anymore. That's just a waste of time. Plus, my ego is so big, right?
That damn ego, it's there to protect us, but it fucks us up too, right?
It's a big balloon, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say was the pivotal turning point to make you get help, want help?
I think I was pushing the envelope over the last one. So I came to Christ probably, I think it's maybe 6 years ago. And that allowed me to justify why you can keep drinking because Christ turned the water into wine. So he made it okay. But I think I was probably pushing the envelope in the last little bit. It became okay, it was just the weekends or whatever. And then you get up to it's only 3 days. Well, it's only 4 days. Well, it's kind of almost every night. And I was a, was a I we had just been on a men's retreat weekend. A gentleman up there basically told me how he's no longer drinking and had his moment and everything that he told me about his prior life. I'm like, oh my gosh, he must have looked at my diary or something. But basically recited everything that I do on a nightly basis after checking out from work. And yeah, so that Sunday coming back, wow, he was so right. Oh, I got to get to the liquor store and have a bottle of wine. And then the very following weekend, I think I came upstairs to find out how Beth was doing or whatever, and it was like, I can't believe she's talking to me that way. Like, what's going on? And of course, I'm inebriated,
Right.
and she doesn't want anything to do with that. And I went downstairs and I went, I wonder if this is the last drink I'm ever going to have. I think I may have pushed the envelope, and it's now fully open. So I slept downstairs that night, came up, and it was pretty quiet in the house. We actually had to go to a wedding. That's a level of uncomfortableness I don't want to experience again because
Yeah.
you're going and joking. Oh yeah, and then you're like, okay, yeah, it's okay. This is gonna blow over. And then finally, it's like Sunday, like we need to have a talk. And it was like we've been living this for a long time. Like, come on. And like I'm so thankful because even prior to going to the men's weekend, my daughter, I posted to all the kids and say, there's one thing you'd want me to change, what would it be? And one of them had the, backbone to say, well, I wish you didn't drink so much by yourself.
Wow.
And even then so I really needed to have it like slapped in the face. So
Was that real, like Beth saying to you, like, clean up your act or?
so prior to getting married, she even had it. She goes like, I didn't marry someone that they're always drunk. Like you're funny and all that, and whatever. But like that's not who I want to marry. And I guess I must have cleaned it up for the, enough time to think, okay, he's not that bad.
Right.
But she said, we know we've been living with this for like the time that we got married, so I really can't do this anymore. And your decision, totally your decision. So it was like, yeah, could I lose everything? Absolutely. And I'm like, gotta go have a conversation with God, and I needed to reach out to a friend that I knew had kind of gone through it and helped me in Alpha. And it was pretty much, I just need to go to A meetings and, kind of show that I can because I couldn't do it that same year in February, tried to do the don't drink for February to raise money for cancer or whatever the charity might have been. It was like 16 days of a grind. And the moment he prayed over me, and sorry, I was about to like just kind of call it thanks, you'll set me up. And that was a good call. No, no, no. We're going to pray right now. It's like, oh God, okay. And he did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never felt lighter than that moment.
And is that when you kind of gave yourself over to,
Well,
like, or was it a process
yeah,
for
it
you
was,
getting to God?
oh no, no. So I've been a Christ follower prior to that. So I was the blind guy that had to get healed twice. So although as a follower, as I say, I could justify that I could drink since he turned the water into wine, but this was the actual full surrender, which, as I've read, you got to kind of let Christ into every room in your house. And I was like, well, he's in 90% of my house. I could still have this 10% over here, and we're okay. Not really. So it was fine. Open up all the doors, and here we go. And it was scary, but yeah, I felt super light. I was like, okay, great. Now it's not carrying this, sort of two-faced individual or a hypocrite, which I always hate, and yet there I was probably living it. So, yeah.
So, because you are so social and you're out and about, like, how do you now, like, I know you're solid and you've been clean for
Coming up for 2 years in jail.
2 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations. How do you deal with when people offer you a drink? Like, are you still, do you have the temptation still, or is that all gone?
Um, Yeah, I can't say that I have a compulsion or I'm tempted. I, I mean, the great thing in today's world, right? There's like the alcohol-free beer and all that,
Hmm.
and I've had it. And it's nice and refreshing. It's lower calories than Canada Dry, so I'll drink them, and they're fine. When I first became sober, I was scared that I wouldn't last. I thought for sure. Again, I couldn't get 16 days out of February like
Right.
this until I pass away. Holy cow! Here's an uphill challenge. And although when I was prayed for, I felt phenomenal. It's like, okay, great, that was a good sprint. But what about the long term? And I believe there's three devotionals I read. I can't remember specifically which one. It may have been Richard Rohr's daily devotional. They always have a little personal bit at the end, and someone was writing in there how they were so excited that their loved one had been sober for 8 years. And eight's just a number that is something that's significant to me. And I went, oh, is that what God kind of tell me like he's got this one for me? I'm like, okay, great. So that weight of the longevity was off my plate because then in AA I learned it was just take it 24 hours. And it's hard for me to just do 24 hours because as a project manager, you always have to look out. You always have to be forecasting and what are we going to do? But for this part of my life, it's just, yeah, 24 hours, no big deal. And so I've been into the belly of the beast. I've been into Vegas. I've been to my buddies' poker nights. I've been to the golf tournaments where it's, drinking from 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight of that same day. And there I am drinking Canada Dry or non-alcoholic beer, and it doesn't bother me now. So,
Do you
yeah.
feel that you are in judgment of other people now that you've kind of cleaned up yourself? Like, do you find when you
Mm.
are with the guys and they're all drinking that it's hard for you not to?
No, I feel more that they're scared. They think that I'm judging them because they'll
Right.
start the bits like, Scott, is it different on that? And it's like, guys, do what you want to do.
Right.
Like, if you find it's your time and you feel you don't want to, and again, whether it's osmosis or just whatever, some guys are like, hey, I tried some of those non-alcoholic beers. They're actually okay. I'm like, okay, good.
Wow. I saw this little clip on social media not too long ago. I actually sent it to a friend of mine, and it says, when I stopped drinking, I realized I really didn't like the people I was spending time with. Like, do you now look at life through a different lens?
Yeah, like probably growing up, like, a Scottish background, and when the families got together, people drank and they drank in excess,
Hmm.
to the point where people are passing out on the ground. And as a kid, it's embarrassing. I'd never do that. Then there's times I fell asleep on the ground because, hey, you drink till you black out. And that was just, my approach to it. Um, Rephrase the question again for me, though.
So the clip that I saw was when you stop
Oh,
drinking, you realize that the people you're around you really actually don't
yeah,
like they're just because when you're drunk, you like
yeah,
everybody, right? And
yeah.
everybody's fun and whatever. But when you're not drinking and you kind of look around and you're the sober one, do you see things?
Couple people, but the majority of the friends I have, I was the one getting blacked out and probably being the call it dumbass. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that,
Of
but
course,
anyway,
you're around
yeah.
Rob.
Um, like I was the one that was doing the silly stuff. Like if we were at weddings, I'd be the guy probably streaking through a wedding, for a laugh. It's
Right.
like, geez, you know how inappropriate that is. And anyway, so I'm probably the guy that,
Was the one that
yeah. So most of my career are actually pretty solid guys, and again, they're like, it's not like I'm no longer on the A list of being invited to the golf trips or anything like that. It's just, and who knows, maybe they like it because now I'm the D&D.
yeah.
I can get them from point A to point B and everything's totally fine. Yeah.
Did you lose people along the way? Like, when
Hmm.
misery loves company kind of thing? Like, did you find that people stopped calling? And like, you sound like you've got a solid group of
Yeah.
friends, but
Maybe a couple, but then again, I'm not really cognizant if I haven't been invited to things that may have been in the past because I haven't felt I really lost anything. If anything, maybe it's the flip side of just how much I've gained in my relationships with my kids and my wife and my friends that are more solid and more open than they were in the past, right? Because I really never really did enjoy superficial conversations or, all right, let's go to a cocktail party. And, oh, yeah, how you doing? Oh, you were up at the cocktail. We go, and nothing, not that there's anything wrong with that. But
Right.
I just struggle like, so are we friends or acquaintances? And I'd rather have friends so that, they're in hardship, then I can be there for them and vice versa. So yeah, I don't know if that I've been dropped off any of the to call lists. In fact, some of the guys that, again, their lifestyle's still the same. That year we went to the member golf tournament, and one of the guys, just, older gentleman, he see me in my heyday. He just said, "Hey, Scotty, you're not drinking anymore?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "That's awesome." He goes, "Because there's four alcoholics here. You're just the only one that has acknowledged it." And oh, thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Have you been able to now reverse the tables and help others?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like, so I was in AA for a bit, then I moved to Celebrate Recovery just because I struggled with, one, the travel. The travel for the where the AA meetings were for me anyway were quite outside of London. And again, sometimes you go to what you just know. And the gentleman that prayed over me that was in my AA group, um, Steve, I didn't really want to burden him, which was kind of funny. Like, he's been there through my faith journey and stuff.
Hmm.
He's like, well, I didn't understand why you wouldn't want me to be involved from the beginning. So he's been guiding me through the Celebrate Recovery process. But I haven't had anyone come to me saying, "Can you help me out in my recovery?" I just I don't know if I've done it kind of nonchalantly by sharing my story with other people and had
Right.
them. But yeah, I haven't had that. I'll call it an honor to maybe help someone through that. So,
If you had someone right now sitting across from you, and I
you,
don't like, no, it's
no.
not me, but if you had someone that is really struggling with alcoholism,
Mhm.
what's one thing that you would want to say to them?
Hmm. I mean, I'd probably maybe ask them where their faith is. Do they believe in something more? Um, and do you have a true desire that you want to change your lifestyle? Like, and just maybe see where that kind of goes to. And if anything, I would point them to, go to an AA meeting or reach out to a trusted friend that you believe is going to watch your back. You want to go to one, I'll go with you for sure. Just introduce them to people that are probably, I don't want to say necessarily more skilled, but they are, they've all been down that path. So if you want to see what outcome of the recovery looks like, go to an AA meeting and you'll see people that have struggled and it is doable. And if you don't have a connection with God, just try and be open minded to it, have an open heart. Just, so yeah.
How do you think your life has changed since you've stopped um, drinking?
Um, Probably hear God's word a lot better, more clear. My relationships with my wife and family are far greater. My patience level is far, far better than it was in the past. I can be so short with people just because, hey, they're not as smart as me, blah, blah, blah. Again, I'm not that I'm super intelligent, but, to everybody else there.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'm just, one gentleman actually in A said something that I thought was quite profound because in the book it said something about the fourth dimension. And all I could recollect was back when I was in university, a buddy talking about the fourth dimension, and he was just comical about it. But this guy was quite, more tangible. He said, "Well, I believe the fourth dimension is now that if I'm at a family function, I'm there in the moment. My kids are coming up to me and they're asking for my time. I'm there, not constantly going, okay, so we're at this little kids party, so when are we drinking? Or we're gonna go after, okay, so when did the drinks come out?" And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly the way I was at any function I went to, even church functions. You'd be like, okay, great, yeah. Are they drinking there or not? They're not. So how long are we there for?
Wow.
Like, it's what you revolve around. And again, looking back at it, you're like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. But the reality was that's just what it was. Now, if we go to function, like, great, who's going to be there? Can we bring anything?
So different, eh?
It is. It doesn't. And so, kind of going back to your question, like, do I get tempted or there was one instance, and again, reading in the book where it talked about, just even the moment on your tongue, the moment it hits you, there's a moment where when you're a drinker, it's like, okay, there it is. Let's go on. Like, let's get to it. And within, I think it was like the first 4 months of my sobriety, we were in a trip down south, and we just thought we'd gotten water and some bubbly water. And so, oh, hey, that's kind of refreshing. And it was like, oh my God, there's, what does this 5% VOL per ALC mean now?
Shit.
And the person, pour it out, pour it out. And oh my God. And I'm like, hey, I didn't turn into Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde or whichever side it's on. It was all good. So the taste buds were there, but I didn't. I was like, oh my God, I got to get to town now. So
You
yeah,
just knew.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so again, I'm not sitting here saying that nothing will ever happen, and I really hope it doesn't, because I do understand in a lot of people's history of their sobriety, they have the bumps or relapses, I think is what they call it. I just believe that if I had one of those, it could be catastrophic. And so I just go, yeah, I'll maybe just have intentional choice to, again, just 24 hours. And yes, I'll have stressors in my life. I just try to incorporate different coping mechanisms now than I did in the past.
Would you say you still struggle? Like, are you still tempted to have a drink?
No, because I know the feeling that I chased, which was, you know, to be inebriated, right? To have that buzz, and it's just to be zoned out and not in the moment. Like if I was spaced out here, it'd be like look back after and go, oh my God, I'm so out of it. And I'm just like, I'm here. I know I'm here, and everything's.
It's
I'm,
like
I'm
that you
comfortable.
don't know what you don't know, right? Like it's so hard when you're in the moment because you're like, yeah, you get caught up with your friends and one leads to another, and yeah, it's not.
And most of my friends even say like, "Oh, I didn't know you struggled. I didn't know you had a problem." I'm like, well, and you guys saw me like in the day, and once I was done with you guys, I was still going home and cracking more before I hit the pillow because I want to be out.
Right.
I convinced myself that I couldn't really fall asleep unless I was completely bombed and blacked out.
Do you struggle sleeping now?
No, I sleep great.
Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
So how has your marriage changed? Like, how long have you been married?
Oh man, I better get this right.
Yeah, you
In case she
better.
watches this.
Oh, she'll be watching.
Yeah, I think we're going into the 27th year because it was 1997. Yeah, so August will be 27. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Someone Google fact that or whatever. Yeah.
So how have things changed in your relationship?
Great. I mean, when we, like any marriage, you'll have a point where, well, you didn't do that right or whatever. And typically again, I'm not the type that blows up. I'm the type that goes silent. So it can be 3 days of like, well, she'll know that I'm upset. Yep. Oh yeah, because she didn't make the bed. Oh yeah, yeah, whatever it was. Bit of a neat freak, but whatever. I mean, I'm trying to just set the example. It's like, holy cow, like I can't believe, whatever it is. Well, then I'm just gonna not talk for 3 days. Now it's like we openly acknowledge, like, you did that thing. I was kind of upset about it. God's huge in our life now. God's huge in our whole family's life, and when we face challenges, we talk about that stuff versus again, I'll go in the basement and crack a bottle of wine or have a bunch of beers and great. If I don't talk about it, then everything will be fine tomorrow. Well, no, if you don't talk about it, it's not going to be fine tomorrow. And then it's just worse to even peel back the onion and go, so what was the problem?
Right.
Then I have to think through it. So now we just deal with it sort of in the moment, which is great. Deal with it, move on, and acknowledge. And if I was wrong, if I was wrong,
If you,
yeah,
if
it's very rare.
Sure, I bet if he was wrong. If you could have everybody that you've ever met in your life, dead or alive, and they all were in this room, and you could only go to one person, who would you go to and why?
Yeah, I guess because I go to him every morning, I have to say Christ because just, he knows everything and he probably won't even answer all my questions. But just to feel that warmth and peace and comfort of like, I know you suffered more than I did, but got some stuff I'd like to share. And, I appreciate all your help, appreciate everything you've done for me personally, and then just in my family specifically. It's, we went through some really, really rough times with some of our kids, and I don't know how we get out of it, but we did. And, um, you know, so yeah, I'd probably go to him.
Nice. Um, if your younger self was sitting here, what would you want to say to him?
After he stops making fun of me. Um, I don't know. I've thought about more the phrase of the question. If I could change myself when I was younger, could I change it? But my problem is realizing you have to accept the chain of events that happened and how they happened in order to be where I'm at now. Um, it is unfortunate when I look at when I went to the A meeting that there was God ready to kind of accept me and maybe help me through it. And again, good or bad, free will. I chose not to, and yet, the way I look back at the events, he was still pursuing me, still knocking on the door. But again, ego and arrogance, like I don't need that. Like, look at just got a promotion, or now I got this awesome job, and well, I'm married now, like and oh, I'm buying a bigger house. See, I don't need that stuff. That's for weak people. Um, so I don't know that I'd be able to convince myself younger, um, because I don't even know if I was younger, I would recognize an older self. Because although I still had people of influence that were older, I'm still probably just too arrogant. So sometimes being humbled is a good
Yes.
thing. I wish it had been earlier, but then again, it might have changed a bunch of events that would lead me to where I'm at today, and having the family I have and having the trust in my faith that I have now. So, yeah.
It's amazing. Amazing. I love it. Friends. Do you watch Friends?
Pivot, pivot. Sorry, that's the Ross Geller one with the couch.
So you
Yeah.
already answered
Oh,
who
okay.
you'd be.
Oh, no, I would not want to be Ross. No,
No, if you
no.
could be any Friends character, who would you be?
Oh, I guess, I mean, at the end of the day, I'd be Chandler, right? Just kind of the goofy, kind of funny guy. Yeah.
Where do you see Scott Creek 5 years from now?
Hmm. Um, where do I see Scott Creek 5 years from now? I hope still serving at Sanctuary. I would like to think that all of our kids are then graduated, moved on, and pursuing their own individual lives. Ben and I probably downsized in our house. Um, I may still be doing contract management stuff at the banks. Um, but if there's a way that I can do more at Sanctuary and moving towards that and helping out, I would love that. And of course, balancing that with golf.
With golf. I love it. Um, Working at the sanctuary, what's been the most rewarding?
Um, Probably watching their staff. They're, I've said it to many people. I've probably seen Christ in action multiple times by every one of their staff member, and even community itself amongst community members helping one another out. Um, so yeah, probably the most rewarding thing I've had is probably me just changing my own characters and perspectives of people that have suffered hardship and are suffering hardships. Um, so yeah, and just the willingness to be taken advantage of for the sake of giving and helping. So I'm kind of a rules guy. And that was when I first started serving. That was part of my struggle of and learning too that I'm not there to serve. I'm actually there, part of a community that's healing. Like I've been healed by them as much as I hope my involvement has healed or helped another person out. But I've learned that in going down there. But um, I just find the reality of giving regardless. And this is again it's a struggle for me. But hey, when we serve our meals, we want to make sure everyone's getting a meal. And sometimes people come late. So to give the second meal to another person might mean that that person that comes late might not get one. So again, following the rules, that's what wires me. And so again, I'll always ask staff for direction because they know community better than myself, and they basically communicate to me. It's like, we know we'll get taken advantage of. There might be a community member that goes back and takes a ton of buns, more than what they need, and maybe it's they do take it down to the river or wherever, and that's okay. But over time, they realize if they take more than what they're taking from one of our own.
Right.
And so it's a hard philosophy for me to wrap my head around, but it's a thing of beauty when, yeah, fine, it's basically, yeah, you want to slap my cheek, then slap the other cheek, give them the shirt off my back. Yeah, it really is an amazing group of individuals that are down there and doing great work, things that I, again, probably still struggle with sometimes, like,
Right.
yeah, how much you get paid for that. And it's just, it's amazing to see people's hearts doing things that's beyond sometimes my comprehension.
Amazing. Okay, I'm going to finish with this question from me, and then I might ask my team if they have any questions for you.
Okay.
What's the secret to being married for 27 years?
Tolerance of the other, on the other individual's side. Yeah.
On the other side.
Yeah, her
Yes.
her willingness to take all of the stuff that I probably brought to the table, good and bad, and that's probably been the blessing. And again, even maybe that's probably a message out of Sanctuary that's already doing it right. She was constantly giving, 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 and it's thanks to her that we're married that long. And yeah, she's a beautiful individual for accepting me the way I am. So I'm thankful.
Amazing. Love it. Love it. Thank you for being here today
Thanks
and
for having
sharing your story and opening up. And yeah, I'm going to ask the team, do you guys have any questions?
What's your favorite golf course in the London area?
Well, it's got to be the Oaks.
Oh, good one.
Well, I guess my question to you would be, after hearing your story and everything with your journey towards faith through recovery, do you feel that those two, of course, for you go hand in hand, but do you feel that that is a common thread of a lot of the people that you've met that have been recovering addicts? It was through faith that they got there?
Well, from what little time I probably went to like a couple months of AA, and I found a lot of people struggled in AA that didn't have a faith background. And I was blessed that way, and I struggled in understanding why they couldn't have it. But then I'm like, well, Scott, you not remember yourself in second year, like you
Yeah.
totally discounted the whole program and everything, and yet it's completely built on. So people struggled with understanding what a higher power is and what does that really mean. And that idea of forgiving yourself for how you were as an alcoholic, and then to be able to forgive others, like it's an amazing program that in the essence is much like the Bible and what Christ preaches, which is forgiveness, and everybody can be redeemed. And yet I think some people, what journey got them to some people may have been forced. Someone could probably give the argument, well, you were forced, your wife kind of gave you an ultimatum. Well, no, I also went downstairs that night before and went, oh, I think I really tipped it over, so and I'd had all the, I had my daughter tell me, I had the gentleman that weekend tell me that I had a problem. But again, it's amazing how I can convince myself, no, I don't. No, I don't.
Isn't it amazing? Like you could have everybody in your life tell you need to make a change, but that truly has to come from within, right? Like they can't do it for you.
Yeah.
You have to.
So to your point, when you asked me about, what would you say to someone that's struggling with it, I kind of, I don't know how I assess, have they hit their rock bottom? I had a couple people ask me like, oh, was it health? Was it a car accident? Was it, something catastrophic? I'm like, well, no, my catastrophic outcome was going to be losing my family.
And that's your why right there, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's why is different. So
Almost got teared up there.
I know.
Caught myself there. Yeah.
It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Don't
That's
get
what
you
we
robbed.
do here.
Don't get you robbed. Yep.
It's what we do here. Jake, do you have any questions? No? Okay, he doesn't say much.
Okay. Thanks, Jake.
Is there anything else you want to share with us?
No, I just think if anyone is, struggling with alcohol or little faith, definitely, reach out to get help, because I never thought, in all honesty, life could be as great as it is walking soberly. And I would mock, again, as the non-sober guy, I would mock people that would even think, like, really, you don't drink? What's wrong with you? And some people are great. Some people actually know how to handle their alcohol and say, I get a couple of drinks and tipsy, and I stop. I'm like, gosh, how much energy must that take? Just keep on going, right? So I applaud people that do know their limits and can manage themselves. I just, my overall health, like I'm now up to, I think, 20 plus verses that I recite in my head every morning, and keep building on it. Whereas before I'd be like, okay, sorry, who did I forward this devotional to yesterday? Because I always rotate my children, and I couldn't even remember who I forwarded to the previous day, and I only have 3 kids.
Wow.
So the fog that you are constantly in, it's like someone say, well, I cleaned myself up, I didn't drink all week, or I didn't drink for the month. And you're back at it. It's just, and I'm learning a lot more on the physiological part, like, my liver and all the other, the beer gut and stuff, and like losing your flexibility and stuff. Like, it was just,
Wow.
I worked out in the gym so that I could go and consume a full bottle of wine. And I'm not like the 750, it's like a 1.5, and, like that's just the nature. Like after hockey, it's so bred in our society, and it's tough. I don't know how young people aren't drawn to it, right? Because it's a lifestyle, it's a choice. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I mean, if anyone is struggling, seek help. If you do have faith behind you, reach out to someone that has maybe a faith based. Your recovery might be that much stronger, quicker. Um, your healing might be faster, but there's a lot of joy on the other side. There truly is. So,
Well, thank you for saying
yeah.
that. I think that's going to hit home with a lot of people. So thank you again for being
Thank
here.
you.
And